that people see. Now we're actually in the theatre, but it's nice and it's a Sunday morning, so it's nicely dark. Oh, holy moly! Do we have a name for this young gentleman?
Oh, this lovely fella.
So tell me, how long have you? Because puppeteering, is it something that you were in love with as a kid? Does it come to you later on in life? Or?
No, I've been doing it for the last 30 odd years. But in the 1960s, I would have been helping my father in Scotland actually with puppet shows. Right. He started the drama department in Trinity College, the Samuel Beckett Centre. And his passion in life is puppets, and he travels all around the world giving lectures and talks and discussions on puppetry in all aspects.
Fantastic. So, and when you think about the way modern technology has meant that, you know, I'm a big fan of movies, so you look at the earlier Harryhausen days of Ray Harryhausen, where it was just models being used, and the way technology has sort of taken on so many different ways of portraying, you know, almost like puppeteering, but yet the great tradition is a person right there with the puppet and being able to sort of, you know, create that exactly the same kind of magic that was there right at the start. That hasn't changed, which is great.
Well, the thing about puppetry is it's very interactive, and therefore whether it's children love good and bad, and you work through all the different scenarios within a story.
Right.
But I mean, puppetry has always been used to be a bit subversive as well, because you can.
The fact that he's moving with you.
You can bring all sorts of detail in, all sorts of things that are banned or make social comment, political things, whatever, and so I mean, when politicians have been banned or whatever, comment has been secretly being made through the puppets, you know, and the children may not be aware, but the adults are. So there's all sorts of secret stuff going on within.
Nice.
In concentration camps, for example.
Right.
They made puppets out of rags and sawdust, and they secretly had shows to keep the morale up. But there was also the political and protest element involved, but the officials would not be aware of it.
Because the storytelling, of course, you know, the storytelling traditions, you know, fables and so forth are about, you know, life itself, but certainly art has always been used as a way of expressing what may be politically sensitive to just say outright, that you can, through stuff like the Crucible and so forth, address certain issues that are going on in the world that you may not be able to say, and B, you know, it's just a political rhetoric if it's just a flat statement. Being able to portray it through other means and through other characters is more powerful often than just flatly saying the problems of the world. For you now, was the attraction the artistry? Was it the sense that it was a way of being able to express?
Well, I'm actually a very shy person, but when I do puppets, I'm not shy. So I mean, for example, like autistic kids, they love puppets.
Right.
It's organised chaos as far as they're concerned, but also where they may not be able to physically speak the words. You give them a puppet and suddenly they can speak.
Right. Well, it's a magic.
And let it all out, what's going on in their head, and
Well, we showed Life Animated here, which is that wonderful Oscar-nominated film, which again, you know, as you say, is that sort of being able to step into, I think, for them, a slightly kind of magical world that gives them the freedom to be themselves, you know, ironically enough, rather than the real world is difficult for them. And I think that's always a great thing for children. They feel, you know, kind of comforted being able to step into magic much more than, you know, the everyday reality. So that sort of brings itself in. For you, for the training, was it I don't know, it took years and years, whether it was a kind of instinctive because you'd grown up around it, that it was very quick to be able to do this?
Well, I mean, when I had opportunities, for example, I went off and I did some training with a very famous Chinese puppeteer called Yang Feng, now passed away, unfortunately, but a very beautiful man who, he was basically thrown out of China because he was protesting too much. They didn't want him, and ended up in Vermont.
Right.
But then I went to the Little Angel Marionette Theatre in London and also did some training there. And
so it was very serious for you.
Example,
from very early on, that it was quite a serious kind of consideration that this is, you know, much more than, oh, this is what my dad does, it'll be kind of fun to do. You obviously took it quite seriously, that you wanted to be at a level of as high a level as you possibly could.
Well, the thing about it is that I really enjoy wood carving and the creation as much as I do the performance. And you know, when you're in your workshop, cut off from the rest of the world, your music on, you got your carving tools or whatever, you look around, you suddenly see something you've saved, and it gives you an idea for something you can do, and you rebuild it, chop it up, bolt it together, whatever you do, like, you know.
So I don't know whether you can remember the first time that you felt you know, completely comfortable and said, okay, I can do this? Was it never a question for you? Was there a nervousness at the start of this that you had to get used to the audience, or?
Well, I didn't really think about it too much until I was a young adult, to be quite honest.
Right.
I mean, the puppets were always there.
Okay.
So it was really, I suppose, when I was probably in my 20s, I started to put together my own little shows and things. But before that, I had been participating, and I'd be sitting at the back of place in the middle of the night in universities where they were working on productions of Aucassin and Nicolette and whatever, you know. So that was quite normal for me as a childhood, sitting in the back of university dark basements while they worked on productions.
And was it a decision at all at any point to say, I'm definitely going to do this? Was it just happened that you kind of, before you knew it, this is what you were doing with your life? I don't know whether there was a kind of a sit down and say, okay, do you know what, I'm going to do this with my life.
Not altogether consciously, no.
Right.
I sort of, once I decided I was going to kind of make handmade carved puppets, and I shelved that very quickly because it was about a bit like giving away part of yourself.
Right. Right.
So I decided, no, that wasn't for me. So then I started performing with the puppets instead, you know.
Right. And is it something now that you would feel? I mean, it does seem to me that the tradition, as I said, is very much, has always been, you know, the same. People embrace the fact that it's part of a very old kind of a skill and a very old tradition. Is it something that you feel, you know, that is currently, you know, popular? Is it something that's still kind of, you know, almost like a little club that people get it and some people don't? I mean, do you feel that there's a big audience for it?
Well, I mean, as you know yourself, kids being attached to anything that has a button and a flashing screen, right across the world.
Yes.
But if you get them away from it when they're finished being cool for 5 minutes, they forget all about that and they get just as interactive. It doesn't matter whether they're 13-year-olds or 2-year-olds or 90-year-olds. They all participate. I mean, there isn't an age limit on it.
True. So we should ask then, just for those be coming along to the Whale, what would they expect? I don't know if you've got a certain show that you currently do, or whether you like to sort of mix it up each time, or
I mix it up, and sometimes I like to add a little surprise that the audience is not expecting. So nice. I'm planning a surprise, but I'm not telling you what it is.
Great. Well, we do look forward to seeing all your characters, because it is as I said, an incredible skill, but it's also just a world of magic once you step into these kind of situations where your reality kind of takes a back seat and you can let your imagination run wild. Beautiful stuff, and I think he's a fitting kind of a greeting for this time of year. Beautiful.